Welcome, beautiful hearts, to our quantum conversation experience with Ella Isakov. Ella is a divine optimization energetics founder. It is a modality that she has brought into work on our planet as she has understood the sacred technology of the human body. This is our powerhouse. This is us. And we're going to dive deep with Ella today as we learn about the new you. This is a fascinating way to tune into ourselves, to heal ourselves, to raise our frequency and our consciousness and evolve. Ella, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, it's such an honor to be back here again with you, Lauren, and with your beautiful audience. Yeah, thank you for having me.
We are excited because we're going to be here for 3 days this week. And this is a beautiful way to get to know you on a deep level. So today's conversation is an overview of the beautiful work that you do, your background. It's going to give people a lot of juicy insight into what you're up to and how this works. And then tomorrow is an activation meditation so we can experience
Mhm.
this technology. And then the third day on Thursday is integration, so those who experience this can come back and ask questions and share their comments. To me, the integration is the most fun. It's like a little party. And those are going to be live tomorrow and Thursday. So everyone join us on Zoom, and we're so excited to have you here. All right. Yay. So Ella,
Yes, Lauren.
you're doing work in the quantum field, and this to me is so fascinating. So, as we talk about this new you, what is going on? What do you think, or what can you say is required to totally shift out of the old and into this new?
So this is where I mean, there's several elements to what I do, and you're referring to the New You Women's virtual retreat that's coming up. But I guess you are correct. Everything, basically, you're right. Everything that I do with whether it's clients or webinars, we are moving towards mastering your consciousness, which is the new you, which does take a bit of time for the particles to settle. But in short, people come for whatever. So I deal a lot with people with wealth and abundance and money issues or things they want to unblock. Soul, I have a lot of healer clients that really want to open up to their gifts and be more in the light and really ready to shed what it is that's keeping them playing small and hiding. Because we know a lot of healers and light workers are hiding, and thank goodness they're slowly coming out. And then the third, and it's probably where I spend most of my time, is for health issues, whether it's physical, mental, brain, well, that's physical, and emotional. And where I guess I'm kind of the evolution. I still call myself, I guess, a medical intuitive. You'll see it in places because it's the known word, but I'm actually moving out of that word. And so is the future is not in that word either. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to claim that, but I'm not claiming it's my opinion that this is where the evolution of healing is moving. So I'm not just looking, say, if somebody comes to me for a liver, something's going with the liver, or I'm not just looking at the liver. I mean, I can see the liver, but I'm actually looking at all the dis multidimensionally, all the distortions, all the densities, whether in timeline, akashics, the body, but yeah, and where it's carried, the mental body, the emotional body, and we work with the key distortion. The density in your body is not the root. The root is from the distortions carried elsewhere, whether it's a past life, whether it's a timeline, whether it's karmic, which actually is quite a lot. But it really is about clearing the key distortions. Now, do you want me to continue?
Oh, please. Yes,
Okay.
keep going.
Then after we've cleared this distortion, well, now what? Like, okay, you've cleared it. I'm still me. And you probably will feel, they do feel better. They may feel tired. They do feel tired for a few days because this is a lot on the system. Because remember, everything you unconsciously, we've attached to all of it. We've attached to the pain, we've attached to the suffering, we've attached to, so when it's gone, it's almost like it's a, I don't know, maybe there is a word to describe it, but I think everybody has their own word to describe it. But then what I do that's different is then I stabilize the nervous system with what we've just done. So just make sure, okay, the nervous system is okay, it feels safe with what we just did. But then if you've heard the word technology, that is where we move into the recoding of the DNA and the creation of the new divine blueprint. Now, what you may have heard of the divine blueprint before. In fact, I've done it before in other ways before I've really gotten all the downloads for how it's going to be done differently. And now it's completely pure. It's outside of any of the noise, the chaos, the fears, the traumas, the health issues. And then what we're doing is we're getting ready to ascend, whether it's the person or whether it's, for example, I'm actually doing a joint healing later on today. All the joints of the body, ascending all the joints of the body into the new blueprint. I forgot one little step. So first thing I do after we get the intention is I actually check the base frequency. So I check the base frequency, and it's never good to go too high up. Like for example, if the frequency is at, sometimes it's actually at 5, we want to be like at the highest is when we're really connected to the divine is 963. I fluctuate myself from around 550 to, I guess when I'm in a session, like when I'm doing my medial admin work, I'm probably more around the 500. And then when I'm doing the sessions in the higher realms, I'm probably in the 900s. Now, say somebody comes to me at 122, because this is a client that I had earlier, I would probably only bring them up to say 222, something. Otherwise, it's a lot. In fact, people that have complex PTSD, it would even be less than that because the consciousness is so addicted to, well, this can get so, it gets addicted to the cortisol, the thing. So we have to move it slowly. Otherwise, it can feel a little chaotic in the external world. The consciousness is your greatest loop. And the ego, the consciousness is, we need to both, we're lovely. When we master them, then we are the empowered ones. So when I create the new blueprint, it's that the new blueprint is created from the frequency that I've stabilized at the higher level. And this is why I often recommend three, depending on like 3 to 5 sessions, depending on how long they've been dealing with it and what's going on, because we can only go up, not, it can only go up so much in frequency at a time. And that blueprint that's stabilized, and then we move the frequency, then I call the frequency medicine through the neural pathways to connect the nervous system, the body to the new pattern to the consciousness. Then the little by little is allows it to be stable, allows it to be manageable, and then the shifts begin to happen. So each time, so for example, if I was to do a group process here, I would check the base frequency. As you know, in energy, I can even know who's going to be watching. So I can literally get the base frequency, and then I can get the frequency of what I'll be stabilizing everybody, including through the neural pathways, the pattern, the frequency pattern that will be connecting to their consciousness. Go ahead and let me know if anything was like, what?
You make such perfect sense
Oh,
here
okay.
because our nervous system is where we receive information from the cosmos. So what you're doing, I'm going to sum up what I gather you're doing, and please correct me if I'm inaccurate, but this is where you are. So if consciousness is the greatest loop, and we are looping, and we're not able to break free of that, you're coming in and assisting those distortions that keep the consciousness looping. And as you say, you can't do it too fast because if someone is way low and you bring them up way up here, they may be dysfunctional, right? It may not be optimal for them. So you're ratcheting it up slowly by finding that base frequency. So it's a multidimensional thing. How do you discover a base frequency? Is it a little test, a little questionnaire of how people are? How do you identify someone, one of your clients, for example, their
Yeah.
base frequency just by talking to them and seeing where they're coming from?
I
Or
just
how?
muscle test or then I go higher or lower. Now, this
Okay.
could be for the person or it could be, for example, somebody else coming to me is healing their hand. So I'm actually raising the frequency of like joints. It could be also the frequency of the hand or the liver or the skeletal system, whatever is working. Sometimes I've even done it for two things at a time, so the body and the hand, and then get the base. And then I check with what can we stabilize them today. And
Mhm.
then, but I'll be honest that after a little while, I've asked my team to start giving me a slightly lower, higher frequency because I found people were creating chaos around themselves. It's the chaos is not happening, right? It's because of their consciousness not able to handle it that all of a sudden, the child gets sick because the child is DNA connected as you know, I'm sure. And they endanger their big toe. So I've asked actually my team to start to lower the higher frequency. It's actually better. That way people feel stable, they start to notice a difference, but yet there's no like external shakiness or whatever. It's created from the inside though. It's not created from the outside.
Okay, so slow going. It's like we are taking the stairs up in frequency instead of taking the super fast elevator, right? Okay, that's just a metaphor to help explain what's going on. And it makes perfect sense how we need to move slowly. We do not want chaos, we want ease and grace. And so then you create this new blueprint
Mhm.
to stabilize people into. Tell us about that new blueprint.
Think of it as
It,
a pattern, a new, so we've got the higher frequency. Now with the technology, we've stabilized the nervous system we've stabilized the frequency, we've stabilized the nervous system to what we just created. Now we create the brand new, so think of it as technology, a tapestry, a pattern of the new divine blueprint that's pure outside of any noise. And then when everything is ready, when everything is cohesive and balanced, including the DNA that we can reconstruct, recode, then we start the ascension process. And then we seal the field and we integrate all the changes. And then I do something just to purify everything. Because one thing I didn't mention is because we do start with an intention. Everything is based around, and it's just so wild what comes down from the divine. Like, the other day, somebody came to for the first time for their trading stocks, I guess, and all said over my stocks are doing great and overflowing. Straight away, all the main karmic distortion, where they were wealthy but also very selfish, started to come through. That's just one, that's because it's recent. There's many of that, and that has been impacting through all the lifetimes. So when we call it purified. So everything is about shifting everybody to the next timeline, which of course is the higher frequency. So remember, even when we shift people to the timeline, we're still shifting them to the timeline that their consciousness can handle at that time. So everything is working with the consciousness and stabilizing. So even though now I give you the new word of timeline, but actually it's the same as frequency because as you shift your frequency, you are shifting your timeline. Your timeline is dependent, well, a few things, but the consciousness is only, that's why people can go through different timelines in a day, depending on the emotional roller coaster that um, people go through.
yes, yes, yes. Okay. So Shifting timelines. Okay, let's look at a little bit about timelines and just identify
Sure.
that for people, because the
Yeah.
easiest way to shift our timeline is to shift our frequency. You said they're one and the same.
It should, they're different, but that it's also your consciousness, right? So we're shifting the frequency of everything, and that shifts you to the next timeline. But you can also
And
be impacted by it. So that another timeline can also be the big distortion that's keeping you. Another timeline could also be keeping you in whatever you're doing that is part of the intention. For example, my recent client, her intention is bring me to my highest health and wealth timeline. And so everything seems to be, well, it's all very precise. Source, the divine, just brings the precision of what the intention is.
how do we ask? So for those who are listening and joining us today, can you come up with some tips, like a structure, a protocol for someone? We are aware that this current situation, timeline, if we want to call it that, is something that is not what we want. What can be done in our life on a regular one foot in front of the other practice to shift that and to change our energy, to change our thoughts and our feelings around it? And you mentioned intention. That must be huge. Share a little bit about that.
Sure. So not only do people come up with the intention, but I actually activate the intention in their pineal gland, the middle of the brain, and they can activate anytime. So I tell them as you go to bed, as you wake up, 4 or 5 times a day, depending on the client, go into the middle of the brain, say the intention, say activate it, and it will run. So the whole session is based on the intention. Then I close off with my tongue. It's not necessarily, I guess you can call it light language, and that just purifies and upgrades everything that's been done. But I want to go back to your question specifically. Ultimately, as you begin to shift your consciousness and, I give the intention, I activate it, it really is about stabilizing your emotional state. And we can say, but well, what about all the beliefs? And are there people living in their head? Yeah. But guess what gets into their head? We take an emotion, anger, sadness, we take a circumstance, that's not, I can't believe they did that. And then it goes up into the mind and then the ego, and it just becomes a whole narrative, becomes a belief system, becomes the truth, it becomes of who we think we are. So this is where meditation and observing, if somebody is not, like if somebody has not come to energy healing and just wants to move out of their rut, is that kind of what your question is? Or if they were to come to me?
Yes, coming to someone like you
Okay.
actually facilitates a faster, an accelerated journey through that, because you, from the multidimensional level that you work with, are able to see that they may not see. But for those who want to wake up today or tomorrow, let's say, and they want to just start doing something differently, do you have a protocol that works, like for you in your own life?
I mean, my protocols are slightly more intense and energy infused, but definitely meditation. I sit, but that's not, mine is not a regular meditation. I'm just being I'm being worked on by source, by the divine. Like it's a thing because I'm a way shower. So I always still feel weird, a little weird saying it, but I'm like, I've been the chosen. So now it's the responsibility of being chosen. And I show up morning and night. I do things. Even as I go to sleep, and in my sleep, they're not just upgrading me. It's not about the upgrade. It's about the recoding and the stabilization and just making sure whatever needs to be done on any level. But as far as right, if you're not doing energy healing and you're going through a rough time, it's really, I think first and foremost, honestly, what I'm getting is seeking support, seeking guidance in some way. And there's so many free things to go for what resonates. There's so many free even energy healing things that people can do. seek support. Ultimately, you want to be aware of this may be too much for somebody that's new to wanting to, you know, shift their life. But when you can start to be aware of the emotion, okay, so bring your anger, oh my gosh, I'm feeling angry. And then start to think about what am I angry about, and start to bring awareness of that and start to, this is where it gets tricky. Yeah. What I was going to say, I don't know if it worked because there's such deep attachment to these emotions and to these ways of beings. I think getting some support and talk therapy, I'm not anti that. I think it can get you only so far. Am I allowed to say that here?
Talk therapy, therapy, traditional therapy that goes on for years with no end in sight. And you're the opposite of that because you're doing, like you said, you're getting to the root cause,
Yeah.
those distortions.
In fact, there's very little talking in my sessions. I actually ask them to lie down because they feel themselves, especially people that are sensitive, they actually feel by the end that they're trembling because their fascia, their nervous system is recalibrating. And it actually takes about 21 days for things to settle. And that's why I give all the tools for people to really help stay in that, what am I becoming? This is where we're at. Instead of, oh my God, my leg hurts. What am I becoming? Well, I'm becoming this person that can run and do all the things that I could do before. This is for
Yes.
physical body example. Um,
Yes.
and the other thing that's kind of important to understand is I have clients that heal actually in one session.
See,
And
that's amazing.
it is amazing. And then what is the
And so
difference?
it's
Mhm.
frequency. Let's move into the
Okay,
frequency
please.
because this is where it gets really fascinating. And
Hmm.
as we're talking about the sacred technology of the human body, it's already within us. We've got our chakras, we've
Yeah.
got the DNA, we've
Yes.
got that pineal gland
Yes.
that you've talked about, melatonin, serotonin in the pineal gland, but also DMT.
Yeah.
And we can access that. We can make those chemicals in our body. So the frequency, if our body is this dense matter right here, we can become distorted with our thoughts and our right, you said it, the emotions then affect our thoughts and we can start to feel bad about that, or the thoughts can take us into a cesspool of negative emotions, right? And so to break out of that, we have to raise the frequency. And so raising our frequency, it's not a bypass. So you said be aware of those emotions. When we're aware of those emotions, do you trace it back or is that not necessary? Can you, like, if I were to be aware of something, I can trace it back and it probably goes into lineages. This is why a facilitator like you, like ancestral lineages or past lives, but this is why a facilitator or a healer like you can help people identify what that is. But those who are hardworking and really into it may be able to decipher that, right? And so that's just part of the density around us. And so when we think
Yes.
about the quantum and frequency and the higher frequency, that's even non-physical, that's what we're making the connection to. That's the guides that work around you. They're helping you, they're guiding you, working with your energy so that you can show up to work with the energy of those you're helping. And so share your thoughts on this or this quantum world of frequency and vibration. I know you do a lot of work with sacred geometry as well.
Mhm.
And sacred geometry is just where this frequency from the void, let's say, begins to move and it moves in shapes. Can you explain more on this?
Wow, so many great things in
Yeah,
there.
lots of tangents we can
Okay,
go
let
on.
me start. First of all, the densities are in the body as well. So I'm actually purifying, clearing all those densities from all the things from the body, which is why the next day there can be even be a little bit of pain as the densities are still leaving, which is why I give the tools of activating the pineal gland, of really focusing on what you're becoming. The frequency is the denseness of their being, mind, body, heart, and their field, right? But when we move to the higher frequencies, none of that can exist. No ailment can exist. No, like it's just purity, it's just pure stability. So when we slowly start to shift the frequency from inside and the field around, slowly none of when so we're moving from heaviness to from denseness to lightness. Ultimately, we're really moving towards our divine body, which is the lightest and the oneness. And we really are connecting to that part of our being, well, our consciousness, it is us. Sacred geometry, we've been working for sacred geometry for a long time. It's everywhere. It's around us. It's in us. It's everything is really sacred geometry, the shapes and we're repairing, we're balancing, we're harmonizing, and it's a recoding. It can recode it. It can harmonize. Um, the cells are spheres. I work with specifically pyramids. I mean, anything can come through. Pyramids and spheres are big that come in through the body. I think I gave a brief explanation of those three parts, so feel free to ask for elaboration on any of those three parts.
I think that's good. Thank you. So we shift the frequency inside. When you're working, you had mentioned that when this purification takes place, these distortions are released. Your clients that you work with feel it in the physical because it's coming out of the physical, right? So then could that could someone take a look at that and have a doubt about it? And does that doubt ruin the process?
I'll tell
Because
you that the only time that there's pain is when there's resistance to letting it go.
resistance to letting it go. Why do some people cling? Is it just because it's what's comfortable?
Comfortable is what they know. A lot of it is also not feeling safe to let go. I
Mm,
have a nurse client right now, and it's like
wow.
it's just been so, I mean, and her mom was a nurse, right? So then it's like the conditioning of, um, I don't want to say 3D world, but of how
The schooling of her
the schooling
education,
of her
of the
education.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could be any field. I shouldn't say this, but they're like, 'cause
Yes.
she
It,
also knows the form, right? But then always the day after this pain, and then after the first time was the hardest, the most pain. It's even though she truly believes in the energy healing, she's still my client. She's actually no, there's no more pain anymore. Um, Yeah, there's this clinging, there's this attachment, but the root of that, if I can go deeper, people are not going to like this, is that people can spend thousands of dollars and not believe that they can heal.
there, that's really powerful, right?
Yeah.
It's a
I
belief.
actually just got a little, because that's,
And that brings up a good point. When we do energy healing, energy work on animals, they get it
yes.
because they're
Oh my gosh,
open,
yeah.
right?
Great
They don't
example.
have that.
No,
They don't have
great
a judgment
example.
on it.
Great
So
example.
this is what it means by getting out of our own way.
Yeah.
So when people come to work with you, and you're offering special sessions for people. So when people come to work with you, that's really what you're doing is you're getting them out of their own way. You're able to identify what's keeping them looping and locked in their own way. So that I know that could be scary for some people, but
I'm glad
that's
you
really
said
what you're
looping.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even talk about the identity loops. That's the big part of what I do. Yeah, it's people can I work with a lot of healers. They don't heal because they don't believe. You have to trust and believe that you can heal. You have to trust and believe that you're safe enough for the spiritual gifts to thrive. And it's so interesting. One of the first things people notice is that they feel joy, is that they feel light. Even when, say, their pain is still there, they feel, oh my God, I feel like I've got something to live for. Oh my God, I feel like I'm excitement, but the pain is still there. So that's their consciousness trying to help them really move out of the loops of of, the pain in my arm and the attachment to that. And
When the attachment to that or the addiction to that is gone, joy moves in. There's nothing but joy. That's so beautiful. I know so many
yeah.
people want that. So many people are ready to be done with that. So, if you were going to share on your personal sessions, what's that like? Can you talk more about what that is like for clients who come to you and people in our audience today who are listening? Because I know some are going to want your help.
What's that like to feel better or
Yeah, so with you, you've got 30 minutes. These are 30-minute sessions,
they're
and it can go
45?
quantum.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
45.
oh.
I mean, a lot can be done. If it's a group session, a lot can be done. But in a personal session, you can really go deep with someone. Share a little bit more about what you're doing in those sessions.
hmm Basically, we're helping the consciousness, we're helping them master their consciousness. Oh, by the way, there's also a re-listening protocol. So not only do they get to activate their pineal gland, their intention throughout the day, but also there's a re-listening protocol just to help them stay out of the loops, to stay out of the nervous system imprints and the trauma imprints. These are the three things that, especially the identity loops, that tend to come back. Once I clear the causal or the timeline bleed, or that tends to stay. It really is the identity loops that tends to be the the hardest one to break, but it is doable. Well, I've explained everything that I do in a session, but then how is it for the person after their Yeah, so in the session, we start with the intention, then we do the clearing, we figure out the main distortion that's causing whatever they're wishing to clear or whatever their intention is. Then we start to stabilize their nervous system and move them up to that higher stabilized frequency, create the new divine blueprint that is pure. And so that we have the new stabilized frequency, the new pattern, and the new blueprint. And then when we ascend them up into the blueprint, after that, then we move the frequency medicine through all the neural pathways to help the consciousness understand the new, the new, the new identity, in short, kind of the new ways of being, which is pure,
Mm,
which is no pain, which is no trauma, no stress. Trauma, I mean, we don't go back to any of the traumas. The trauma is really just living in the past. So when we just, especially complex PTSD, I've got clients with that as well. There is addiction with that, and for them, it's even slower. There's an addiction to cortisol. There's an addiction to almost like drama, lack of, maybe that's a better, yeah.
you're speaking about how the body becomes addicted to that. The body follows the brain, right?
Yeah,
And the
yes,
body is becoming addicted to the
yes,
emotions,
yes,
to those thoughts. Physically, there's something going on with hormones and things like this, right?
yeah.
There's cortisol, like you mentioned. And so without that, the body's like, ah. So you're really helping to reprogram. And I love that word, recoding the DNA,
Mhm.
because when we're talking epigenetics, if you're not recoding that DNA, that is going to just allow the proteins to be made from the body that expresses the DNA that has the distortions of family history in it, right? So if you're able to do something new to shift that, to let them believe and know that they're doing something differently, they're becoming something different, that is the key. That's so beautiful. That's opening the pathway for
So
true
beautiful.
healing.
It really is. I'm in awe every day of my life. I have this Netherlands client. After the first session, her digestive system got better. She didn't even come to me for that. After the second session, her husband said, "You're walking longer and better. The pain of the soles of her feet are gone." She's doing so well that she's still with me, but now she wants to work on the abundance because she's been, it's hard to do things when you're in pain and when you're incapacitated, when you're uncomfortable. So I really feel it's a great honor. It's a great honor what I do.
Wonderful work that you're doing, and you help so many people, and you've got guides helping you, and you're connected into that quantum world, your
Mhm.
guides, your multidimensionality. And again, that's really fascinating. So you have created a retreat. And what we're going to do, what we're doing in this week is giving people an experience. And so tomorrow there will be an activation. We're
Mhm.
really excited for that. So show up, everyone, and join us for that with Ella and get cozy. And then bring your questions on Thursday because Ella can help you. Ella can answer anything and everything that you might want to ask. That is your time on Thursday. So, Ella, one of the things that you have created, you've already mentioned it, is this New You virtual retreat.
Yeah, it's a
Now, this is
women's
like
virtual retreat.
it's a women's virtual retreat. And let's talk about why you wanted to do this. Over the 2 days, it's actually four 90-minute sessions. It's a beautiful gathering.
Yeah.
Why did you create this? I mean, we see what's happening right now on our planet. There's a lot of shift. Last year it feels different since June of this year. It feels like we've turned a corner, hopefully. I hope that you say so. But there's some chaos going on, and either people are exhausted by that and they're deciding to take their energy into their own hands, or something's happening. Why now this New You Woman's Virtual Retreat?
I was guided to do something where they don't have to leave their home. They stay in the solace of their home. It's it's 4 parts, like an hour, 75 minutes, but it could be also 9 minutes, 4 parts. And it's literally you're creating a place in your home, even between the sessions. I'm also going to be giving them integration and practices like tea or walking meditation or taking a bath, things to do to go along with what I just talked about, cleared, activated, upgraded. And so it really is I call it an immersion. I like the word immersion. Yeah. So the first day is emotional and mental, really going through clearing the distortions, raising the frequency, doing individual scans. Yeah, so during these 2 days, I actually still work also on individual levels if people have questions or if people have issues. And then we raise the frequency. And some of the things I don't know until the day of. For example, I don't know what activation they'll want me to do then. Even my sessions, I don't plan, obviously, my sessions. But the first day is really about upgrading the frequency of the emotional and mental body. The second day is all about the hormones, the physical body, and the organ healing as well. And of course, well, the nervous system is always included. And then we ascend the whole physical body and then recode the system and the collective clear harmonize at that higher level. Now, what I also do, as I do with my one-on-one sessions, I'll activate the intentions, I'll give them a re-listening protocol, and this is something that they can come back to as well. So not only you don't have to leave your house, you may want to get your bath salts or whatever you need for which I'll put into the description, but then it's just showing up and being in your home, being in your safe space. And then it's all, well, the other thing that I love, that's why I also have a membership, is because I love people coming together and sharing together. And when somebody has a scan, needs, has a question or wants to scan, everybody's actually getting the healing because it's a collective union. So I'm very, very excited. It's actually my first time to do a virtual retreat like this setup. So I'm really excited for that.
Well, we are excited for that too. Thank you. When groups gather in the space like this, magic happens. there's a reason why the group comes together. And so even people watching this right now are going to know, wow, that's for me. And they're going to meet people there. Even though it's online, there's a group connection. Everyone can meet people. You can chat with the people in there. Friends are made there.
Yeah.
And what happens for one person, as you said, absolutely works for others. And that's where we can't see it from this dimension, but on the higher multidimensional realms, we can see those people who show up are meant to show up. And it's so miraculous when that happens. Isn't it fascinating?
Oh,
That
I'm
someone over
always like
here,
the
yeah.
people that show up is like, yeah, it's just it's divine. It's just divinely created, led, all of it. Yeah.
All right. So, for any woman who is wondering how to become the best version of you, to raise your frequency, to be done with stuff once and for all, right? I mean, it's kind of like we're carrying so much luggage. Or shopping bags,
Yeah.
groceries, whatever it is. We're
Mhm.
just, can we just imagine what it would be like to just drop those? That's what your work does, dropping those and yet feeling like a balloon where we're just elevating ourselves, lifting ourselves up because it's frequency. It's frequency. Now, I want to ask you, you have a modality of your own that's called divine optimization energetics. Can you share with us what that is?
Basically, it's technology. I'm actually changing the name a little bit. It's going to be called frequency medicine and body blueprint activation. It really is everything that I explained, but I guess what we're doing here is we're using multidimensional technology to clear on a multidimensional level, then stabilize your frequency at a higher level. So this is what's so really important to understand is we're not just clearing. You're not just leaving with, oh, thank you, that's gone. No, we're actually helping you master your consciousness. So then we elevate and then we stabilize you at that elevated state. And then we thread that through your neural pathways and that becomes stabilized. So it really, you're becoming a new human. Can we say that here? I think we can. So quote unquote new human is what you're becoming. You're literally moving up to 5D, and in 5D things are more in flow. Yes, things are lighter. I know we like that word, but do we know what that lighter means? So it can mean different things. We're more in flow. Our emotional state is more stable. Whether it's highs or lows, we're just in this state. Time feels expansive. Time, there's no such thing as overwhelm in this higher place. We are not dwelling on anything in our being. We're just living in the moment to moment. And for me, with my team, is like, I'm just doing what I'm told, just doing what I'm told. Fear doesn't have the hold. We are free to take risks, to move into our purpose. I mean,
Yeah,
these are just some of the examples.
I think it's the next level for so many.
Yeah.
Um, it's from that quantum level, mastering our consciousness. I love that phrase.
Hmm.
And mastering our consciousness is also mastering the emotions, because it's these emotions then that put us into a tailspin, the negative emotions, right? That have us doubt ourselves and everything. So you are helping people steer their consciousness. Mastery is a great way,
Yeah.
but you're also steering it because we are not at the mercy of those emotions. And so, so many of us, like, wow, can we imagine just being done, dropping those groceries, or being done with being reactionary to everything? I mean, you can pick up a newspaper, and I think this is what's happening in our world right now in the past couple of years that we've moved through, is that there's a level of exhaustion from that. So maybe it's a good thing that's going on right now, Ella, maybe this is a pressure cooker for people to realize certain things, like I'm the one who can make me happy. So if there's something out here, what are we going to do about it? I'm meeting more and more people, and they're not just the spiritual people. We've heard for years some of the spiritual people are like, well, don't read the news. And others are like, I watch it, but I do it so I can keep tabs on what needs to be done for the collective. But there are all kinds of people from all walks of life who are saying, I'm going to allow that to happen anymore. I'm not going to allow my emotions to get me dragged under the water like that. I'm not going to allow that anymore. And then we can see how it's going to expand onto a larger scale, even when it comes to who rules us as a government, for example. We're going to say, do we really need, there's new ways all around. So the work that is being done on this mastering of consciousness is us stepping up into becoming that beautiful human being that we are, that powerful superhuman that we are. Can we imagine a world with no emotions, negative emotions? I
I
mean,
understand what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is why I call it also mastering the consciousness or becoming a human, because people come to me for whatever they come to me for, but yet the byproduct is a different way. Their life begins to shift. If they come to me for digestive issues or organ stuff, their life shifts because they feel more joy, they feel more hope, they feel lighter in their being. They find more wonder in life. It's everything becomes elevated no matter what they come from. And but yeah, like the attention is the focus. But guess guess why it's being held there? Like when we clear these densities and we stop the identity loops, that is our natural state. Our natural state is not being overwhelmed and anxious. Our natural state is in this. I like the word stability because it's just in this fluid state. Yeah.
And that word stability means we're holding it.
Mhm.
So we can do a meditation in tomorrow's activation, right? So in tomorrow's activation meditation, we're going to be put into a state. We're going to be feeling that frequency. And oftentimes we can come out of something like that and just go and talk nonsense talk and we lose it. We're not stabilizing it at all.
That's
So
right.
that stabilization is really key. So when people stabilize, do you have them do anything in particular, like take a saltwater bath? I mean, there's certain things, but it's almost like definitely if people are more aware of their thoughts and their emotions, they're gonna be the ones not to allow themselves to go back. Do you find that happens? Is that when people do this inner work and they keep it, it's like building that muscle where hopefully sooner than later, they're going to just decide, I got this and I don't need to go there. Like those people who I mentioned earlier who are just turning off the news because they just don't want their energy to be distorted.
Yeah.
But then there's something about that energy being distorted where if we're getting upset about something outside of us, it's something inside of us. So that's the importance of this work for us to recognize that if something out there is making us upset, it's something inside of us. And that's
Oh
what
yeah,
you help people
I
do.
love that.
And then we stabilize to the freedom of not
Mhm.
feeling that way. And
Yeah,
if something
it's
bounces off at us this way, comes
yeah.
sideways at us, we're stronger to keep it at bay, right?
It's you said some really great things there. For example, my client just yesterday, she has MS, but not the big signs just yet. We're getting to it. It's a lot of immune system and nervous system stuff. But she's noticing, she's got a neighbor down the street that triggers her. And she noticed that she did some remark and she said, "Ella, it was the weirdest thing." I didn't even know, like, it's me, but it's not me because it didn't land the same way. The external noise or whatever you want to call it doesn't land the same because it's inner freedom. Because nothing will land if you don't have that stuff hanging around inside you anyway. So when those densities are cleared, when, the loathing, the anger, the irate nature, uh, kindest people are irate. Shame is one of the biggest things I clear from people. When you don't have that in you, it's nothing to cling to. And then you're elevated at higher frequency. And it's like, oh my gosh. Well then, but it does take time to master. So this is why when somebody's better, they still may want to come back in 3 or 4 months until they've mastered it. And maybe they have, depending on what's going on in their life. You can master it. It just may take a bit of time, but you don't have to come regularly once you're feeling great. But then maybe 5 months you want to come back just to it's like, and then it won't take as long because you're mastering your consciousness.
Yeah, it won't take it as long. Now, you mentioned a couple times this re-listening protocol.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? So that means people are going to get a recording and they just tune back into that recording. Or what does the re-listening protocol
Yeah,
mean?
so
I
I
don't
actually
know. I'm
write
just
it
guessing.
down. Yeah. The other thing that the re-listening protocol does is keeps them stable at that frequency when me, especially if it's your first time with me, it can fluctuate depending on what you've got going on in your life. So it just keeps you really stable at that frequency and clears and brings you back. So it's just a way to maintain because it's not, I wish I could say, Lauren, that was easy. If it was easy, maybe nobody would. But I don't think it's hard, right? If all you have to do is just come and lie down and, it just helps to maintain. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
still clearing and da da da, but the key thing is it's maintaining that stabilized frequency that we stabilized at.
So that's the re-listening protocol is from the recordings then, a recording of the session
Recording
or
of the
the
session, even for webinars or the membership that I have coming up shortly, I give a re-listening protocol for that as well, where I say, listen every three days, 5 times total. Or if it's a really deep session, then they would say listen 6 times every 4 days. Everybody's different. I just check in right after.
and you know what I love about that. I mean, I really do. There's something about that. And so um when people re-listen, like I know you probably noticed in your own life, if sometimes people get so relaxed they fall asleep, right?
100%.
And but they're still getting it. So for them to listen to it again, they can hear something they may have heard subconsciously, but now it's in their conscious awareness.
Yeah.
And then there's other things that they hear just because they're ready to hear it. So I love that re-listening protocol. It extends I don't want to say shelf life, it extends the multidimensionality of this work.
Ooh, I'm gonna steal that. I like that.
It
Yeah.
does, it extends it, it just amplifies it, it
Yeah.
continues because, it's just amazing. So when it's all said and done, you are here to assist people in their ascension,
Yeah.
liberation from the density.
Yeah.
Your single most important message for the planet at this time. Close your eyes and tune into that. And I know your guides are working with you.
Mhm.
What is the single most important message for us at this time?
Is to believe and trust that in you are pure light. You are pure. Now we're just making the way for that. At your essence, you are pure. You are already divine. We're not fixing you. We're just uncluttering. But to understand that you're beautiful and that you are love. This is the message that the divine consistently brings forth.
And as everyone gets this, truly understands it, lives it. I see that world, Ella. So I just thank you for your dedication to
Hmm.
this. I thank everyone who chooses to do the work, the inner work. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's so much easier to blame other people. But then I think our next level, like even if we do this inner work, this next level of showing up because we are mastering our consciousness and say we do the inner work where we're no longer blaming other people. But then we could be in a situation where we can see others blaming us, right? Like where we used to be, and we have a deeper understanding and we can approach the situation in a different way. And that's life changing, that's world changing. And so, again, I just say kudos to you and kudos to everyone choosing to do this work. We're going to get there, everyone. We are going to get there. So, for those who get discouraged along the way, keep that up. Keep these words from Ella that you are light, you are love, and the divine is ready for you. Would you like to share anything about that as we wrap up today's show?
The only thing that's coming through, and they're wanting me to just bring this forth. It is possible. Joy is possible. Love is possible. Living your divine purpose, whatever it is that you're dreaming of, is possible. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. It takes effort, just showing up, but it is possible.
I think the hardest part would be to commit.
Yeah.
And then the beauty outside of that. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Ella. You are so wonderful in the work
Oh,
that you
thank you.
do and the spaces that you create. We're really looking forward to tomorrow.
I
Give us a
cannot
little
wait.
idea or a glimpse of what we might do.
So yes, I'm going to think about the an activation. Do you have a request?
I would say something within something with the pineal gland, maybe.
Oh, I love that.
Wow.
Yes.
Ooh, or
Okay.
any of the chakras or things like this.
I love that. So it'll be an activation that will amp up your power and grace and light. Of course, everything's working multidimensionally, but it will enhance from within your being, but also in all facets of your life.
Great. An activation to enhance your being and all facets of your life.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
you do not want to miss that tomorrow. We are going to be flying high after that. And then
Ooh.
everyone, it's your job to stabilize that. So get ready. Sweet dreams tonight. We'll see everyone tomorrow. I'm so looking forward to it.
I
And then,
cannot
of
wait.
course, the Thursday, join us for Q&A. If you
Yeah.
have personal questions, health issues, life issues,
Mhm.
anything,
Yes.
it's a beautiful time to ask Ella any of your questions on Thursday. We're looking forward to that as well.
I really love being.
Ella,
Okay.
from my heart to yours, goddess, thank you so much.
Ah,
Thank you
such
for
an
your
honor to
work.
be back on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We really look forward to tomorrow. Thank you. Namaste. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.